it's Natasha, and thank you so much for joining me today. Today is, as always, a very fun technique that this is one of my go-tos. I often find with a lot of products that I use that they kind of create something that is too bold to be a background. Now, I want to show you my number one go-to trick that I always do, and when I don't want to cover up too much of the background, but I need to make it palatable so that it doesn't take over everything. Now, I have got these dies here. This is called the Leafy Dies 1 from Pink and Maine. This is one that I picked out. I have been, again, eyeing this for so long. I waited for this, and then finally I purchased a few things a little while ago, and this was one of the main ones on my list that I wanted to make sure was in stock. So, this is a layering leaf that goes over a solid leaf. Of course, you can use these absolutely separately, and I will be. Today, I'm going to be using them together, though, as well. I just want to show you how quickly, how amazingly these such a simple design come together. Now, this is not the first one of this design at all. This is not a new concept. But this one is new to me, so I am super excited about this set of dies. Now, to start off with, I'm creating a base. Of course, you could die cut this out of something that is already readily coloured. And I know at this point you're thinking, well, this is going well. It's a bit of a hot mess, but I promise you, when you die cut this, your opinion is going to change. So this looks pretty messy at the moment, and you can see I am not taking care, and I mean not taking care, to blend these together. I am using finger daubers for a starter. I am using my paper that is not really blending friendly. I am using some mustard seed distress oxide, along with some spiced marmalade and picked raspberry distress oxide as well. And then once I have this, I need to cut this down because I'm going to run it through my die cutting machine. I was aiming to get 4 of these leaves die cut, and I'm going to change up the direction that I do them in, 2 of them facing up, 2 of them facing down. So these die cut beautifully, absolutely beautifully. They pop out of the thing and we are good to go. So that was pretty good. I did about the right amount. And once you see these, I think the blending looks absolutely fine in these. Of course, we are not finished with these, but as I said, I took no care in my blending and I still think they look perfectly fine. So we are going to take the other layer now. And just because I like to keep things super simple, I'm going to die cut this out of some plain white cardstock. Nothing fancy. You could go much more fancy as well. Now, of course, one other reason that I picked this die was that these bits here that I'm popping out now are perfect for die cut inlay. Not too small, not too fiddly, not too many. So these are all things that I think about when I'm purchasing a die set. Now, I seem not to purchase too many die sets, more probably stamps. So this one I definitely was excited about. Now, this glue here, this is the Ranger Multi-Medium and the matte finish. This is how it comes in the bottles. It's how I buy it. And all I do is I take a syringe and I pop it into the bottles. Now, there is a little bit of a hack so that it doesn't kind of all spurt back at you. I have an entire video that is very short, a couple of minutes on my channel, called How to Fill a Glue Bottle, and this will teach you all the little hacks so that you can get this done in mere seconds when you need to refill your bottle. It's an efficient way for me to purchase the glue over here in New Zealand, and it is my favorite all-time glue just because there is no squish marks, no shine, no sheen, nothing left. Now, I am using a domed foam blender to apply the glue. Now, I ran out of makeup sponges. I'm running low of everything at the moment. I am in need of a few to search out a few things, but the reason I was happy using this one is because this one got lost down the back and it looks like it's been there for a few years and looks like it's disintegrating a little bit. So I thought I may as well use it up, and also with my glue ones I tend to wash them out after I use them, and they seem to be good for quite a few uses. So I have put a little vivid mark on this one to let me know that this one is for glue, that I will use for glue. And it really does make it easy with a little handle. So all I do is turn the die cut over so I have the raw side facing up, and then I'm going to add the glue, and then these pop down on top of the leaves. They line up pretty easily. I just press each one down as I go, and I think these look stunning. It almost looks like I've done die cut inlay, but without all the hard work. But that will come later. As I said, I'm excited for that when the time comes as well. Now, whilst I am going to put these aside and let them dry for a little minute, I am going to start my card base here. So this is my card base, and out of these beautiful Elizabeth Craft Design dies, this is the stitched indented rectangles. I warned you that these would be coming up a lot because I invested in these and I am super excited. I think this is exactly what my card making needed. I have always been one to just trim down a little bit off my card fronts, and sometimes my cards are very, very simple, and so I was looking for something just to add that extra little 5%. So I was very excited when I was able to get this one. I used one of the largest ones, the second largest ones, to cut out the the card front panel, and then I've taken the two smallest ones, and this is going to create our frame for the sentiment. Now this is how I'm going to work out how to make my sentiment stand out from what is going to become a very busy, bold background. So here I am creating a frame. Now you could use any size you wanted to. If you wanted to see less of the bright, bold background, then obviously make this a size or two bigger. But I chose to go pretty small at this point. So I love that little dotted detailing. It's kind of like stitched, except for it's just dots, which I quite like for a change. And then I am going to save that little inside piece there because that is a perfectly good die cut. I just store these in the back of my packet. I find that the easiest way, just in case I'm searching for one next time I pick up that packet, and it saves me having to die cut one. I'm using the Lawn Fawn Vellum. Now the reason that I like this one is because I can do heat embossing on this. For whatever reason, this one works well with heat embossing. It doesn't shrivel up. Some of them you'll try, some vellums that you purchase might be a little bit lightweight, and if you try to do heat embossing, they're simply going to curl up because they are plastic, of course. But this one is £36, and it means that I am able to do all of those good things. I'm able to do normal dry embossing with embossing folders. I'm also able to do heat embossing with it, which makes me really happy. So versatile. It's the only vellum that I have, and it's the only one that I have in my stash. Now, I did cut this happy birthday stamp apart. I know that that hurts a little bit, but I promise I always cut them on an angle when I do that, and that means when I go to put them back together, I can get them lined up exactly how they were intended to be in the first place. Now this stamp here is from the Happy Birthday Sentiments from Pinkfresh Studio, and this is one of those stamp sets that I purchased recently as I had taken a break from buying sentiment stamps and had gone on to use the pre-printed ones, which I still absolutely love and I will continue to use. However, I did purchase these ones and I am ready to do some more sentiment stamping again, and ready for the variation that that gives me. So happy to be using this one. I have heat embossed that with some white embossing powder. I have some double-sided tape on the back of the frame, and I have just stuck that down onto the vellum. I'm just using my big scissors to go around the edges, my long bladed scissors, and then I use my little cutter bees just to cut in those corners. And I know, I'm sorry I go off camera here a little bit, but I just sneak my scissors kind of down behind that, and that way everything looks all tidy from the edges to give this a little bit of dimension. And again, this is going to take the background level of noise down one more step, because if I have the vellum right up against it, it's going to do a bit, but not quite enough to read this fine, delicate sentiment, I think. So I'm going to add a little bit of foam tape around the edges. If you take off the release paper before you pop it down onto your project, then you are going to be able to get around all of those corners without any trouble at all. It will bend really nicely. Now this is where I'm going to start putting everything together. I have that card front panel that I die cut from, and I have all of my leaves. I knew I would need, I think, 4 for this project, so 3 are going to go right down onto the project as is, and the 4th one I kind of end up cutting up to fill in all of those little blank spaces. So I wanted this to be a busy background. I want it to be bright and bold and happy. I love these dies. I really loved playing around with them today, actually, and I'm excited for a few more ideas coming your way. But I'm going to pop these ones just with that matte medium glue that I showed you earlier on. They're going to stick really nice and solidly, even the bits that don't have the full leaf attached to the background. I know that they are going to stay in place even if I have to cut some off. Now this is where I cut up the 4th one, and I'm just going to add the leaves as I wish around to fill in all of those empty spaces, and you would never know that it came from a separate die cut at all. So even though it has covered up some of the stitching from around the outside, I still think that I like the design, and I like that extra little element that is peeking through in between as well. So whilst I give that a minute to dry before I cut that all down, I have put my card base here onto a scrap piece of paper, and I'm using the same 3 finger daubers that I used to colour in the leaves, and I'm doing some interesting quick colouring around the border here. This is going to create my background colour, so it looks like my card base was probably this colour. It looks like a bit of a hot mess because we are going to put the front panel on and cover up all of the inside, so I only need to go right around the outside. And as I said, I could have left this white, but today I just felt like colouring it, and no easier way to do it than to use the exact colours that I used on the card front as well. So now I've given the glue 30 seconds or a minute to dry. I'm able to go around with my little cutter bee scissors and get everything nice and cut off with the edges. And then here is our gorgeous front panel ready to go. I think this really stands out, and as I said, it's a bit busy and it's quite bright, but I love it. It's got texture to it, and it was actually pretty easy and fun to create. I'm going to put this down with some strong, wide, double-sided tape. I do my little trick where I pull all my 4 edges out so that I can line this up and the border is going to be even all the way around. Once I've got it where I want it to go, I press down in the middle on that exposed adhesive and then start pulling out my tabs, and everything is perfectly even. Then all I have to do from here is pop on my sentiment, and I have a gorgeous birthday card ready to go. I hope that you've enjoyed today's video. I, as usual, have the supplies linked down below, and I also have a link to our Facebook group, which is called Come Crafting with Natasha, if you would like to share some of your creations with me. Other than that, I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thanks, bye!